Hi, I'm Libby Gibson, Town Manager. Welcome to What's Going On in Town Government. Some of you may have received a robocall from a former selectman yesterday. I personally did not receive it, but somebody sent it to me. We're going to listen to it.
38 p.m. This is former Selectman Douglas Bennett. 2 out of 3 Nantucketers voted in favor of recreational and medical marijuana. However, the Board of Selectmen are trying to deny the will of the people by secretly scheduling a special town meeting next Monday, November 6th, in effort to ban legalized medical and recreational marijuana on Nantucket. Therefore, if you want to ensure that your vote counted and you support legalized medical or recreational marijuana, then please show up to next Monday, November 6th, town meeting. It's at the high school. The meeting starts promptly at 6 p.m., right? So come a couple minutes early to sign in, right? The first 3 articles deal specifically with this issue, right? Again, if you want to make sure that your will is not denied by the Board of Selectmen, then show up to the town meeting next Monday, November 6th. It starts at 6 p.m. and vote your conscience. Again, thank you.
Okay, now, I'm going to have to correct some things in this robocall that are simply false. They are documentably, factually false. Number 1, the selectmen, I'm almost going to laugh because the thought of the selectmen secretly scheduling a special town meeting is actually laughable. The only way a special town meeting can be scheduled is in public, and we have had this November 6th special town meeting topic on public Board of Selectmen agendas since probably July. They've been on public meeting agendas. There have been televised meetings. We've discussed it on the radio. We've discussed it here. It's been in my e-newsletter. It's been talked about all over the town, very public. There's been newspaper articles. So it certainly has not been a secret. Secondly, the selectmen are not proposing a ban. I challenge you, this is the warrant, to find the word ban in Articles 1 and 2. There is no ban being proposed. What is being proposed in Article 1 is a temporary moratorium that would expire on December 18th, 2018, to give the town time to A, learn what the state's regulations are going to end up being, which we do not know yet, and to properly plan for the impact of recreational marijuana establishments on the island. It's temporary. It will expire. We also have actually a zoning article, that's Article 2, to set out districts where retail marijuana establishments would be allowed. There's no ban. And
the word moratorium, I think, is...
The word moratorium might frighten people, but if you look that up in the dictionary, it's a suspension of the rules for a period of time.
Yeah.
And we're talking about less than a year, basically. Lastly, it's got nothing to do with medical marijuana. That's already legal. We already have approved one to be on Nantucket. They're still finalizing their location. We have another that's coming to our meeting. They've already been to our meeting at least twice. They're coming again next week. The town meeting has absolutely nothing to do with medical, and it also has absolutely nothing to do with personal use. The statewide referendum legalizing marijuana was approved by the Massachusetts voters in November of 2016. All the town of Nantucket is doing is what pretty much every other town in the state is doing, which is setting forth a zoning district or specifying the zoning districts where this activity can be located. The claim that 2 out of 3 Nantucket voters voted for this, I would not challenge necessarily, except I would say I'd like to see the documentation on that. Let's get that proven. We know what the vote was. Is that really 2 out of 3 voters? Not sure about that. Anyway, just want to clarify it because it's just there are patently false statements in that robocall. And obviously, I think the caller was either misinformed or didn't understand, or I don't know, but it's just not accurate. In other news, At the board meeting this week, we had a number of updates, as we are having lately, about the sewer project, about the Children's Beach boat ramp. That's closed until January 15th. We have
The
a...
sewer thing there was an issue with the C Street?
There's an issue with C Street, yes, thank you, and it is going to necessitate the closure of C Street for a short period of time while they deal with something. There was some kind of unexpected issue, and it's technical, I don't remember exactly what it is, but it will all be very well marked and stuff like that. Veterans Day observance ceremony. Veterans Day is November 11th, Saturday, November 11th, and the ceremony will be held on that day out here at the War Memorial next to the town building at 10:30 a.m. on that day. If it's raining, it'll be at Legion Hall. The annual town meeting warrant is currently open for citizen submittals until November 20th. The special town meeting, again, starts Monday, November 6th at 6 p.m. at the high school. And I do hope we get a good crowd there, because not just for the marijuana articles, but we do need a quorum for some other articles, so a couple of financial articles. Okay, we also gave a bit of an update about something that happened in Mattakit from that sort of fierce storm that we had last Sunday and Monday. There was a pretty serious washover from the ocean into Hither Creek, and there was some initial concern that Millie's Bridge had been compromised by this. The bridge has not been compromised.
Oh.
Has not. It is structurally sound, it's fine to travel on. DPW, as a precautionary measure, arranged for concrete structures to be placed along the sort of areas where the water was coming in, simply to fortify it a little extra. But that was
But there were some houses that got some
There were
damage.
some houses that were damaged. There's some houses that I think are in the process or have been condemned because now they're so close to the bluff.
Now, Libby, we've had storms in the past, many storms. This wasn't that big of a storm, was it?
I don't know, but apparently out in Mattakit it was, in this
So,
area.
Is this the beginning of
Well,
a lot of this kind of thing? Do you think?
I mean, this is not, Nantucket's not the only place where these
But I don't
things
remember
are
hearing about
happening.
these houses being wrecked in this manner before, from a
Well-
storm that was really not even
anybody's.
that huge.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know. I can't really speak to
Okay.
that, but I will say this, the emergency management town staff has put forward, or has updated, really, more of an evacuation plan of Smith's Point in the event that the bridge does go out. DPW did this fortification kind of a thing. We are about to start the planning process, or we're about to engage a consultant to help us develop a coastal resiliency plan, which will probably, the first focus will be Mattakit, probably. And we were reviewing our legal obligations as to what sort of access needs to be maintained. So basically, the town is obligated to maintain access to Smith's Point because the bridge is considered a public way. And if the bridge were to go out or be damaged so that people can't pass over it, we are responsible for repairing it.
And moving people and getting them back to their houses too? Because I mean,
Well, that's another matter, but we would have to try to help figure out some way to do that. And there is a bit of a plan on that's in the evacuation plan. The town could, by law, assess betterments for the repair costs to the people who would benefit from the repair. I'm not in any way saying that the town would do that, but it is an option. Hopefully, we will not have to get there, but this isn't, some of these areas where the houses have been condemned, it's not really new that they've been in a dangerous situation, or maybe dangerous isn't the right word, in a precarious situation where the ocean's coming.
it is.
It's not really new. Anyway, that's something we're definitely monitoring and certainly keeping a close eye on. Other things at the meeting. Okay, we met the transportation consultants that we discussed at the prior meeting, engaging to help conduct a feasibility study of an intermodal transportation center at the Harbor Place property. This is the property where the tank farm, the fuel tank farm currently is downtown, near the downtown Stop and Shop. So we met the team and we reviewed a preliminary public outreach plan for what groups are going to be involved. So that was interesting.
What was that? What happened?
Oh, we just reviewed the different groups that are going to be involved.
So what does that mean? I mean, what are they like? Who are, they're different groups or?
Yeah, different groups, like for example, well, there's some town staff that would be involved, obviously, and there's different community groups where we would go discuss this with them, with the consultants, civic league, town association.
So is it,
I don't have
the
it with me,
ball
but
is
groups
on,
like that.
you know, it's rolling along
The
here?
ball is rolling along here to get this feasibility underway.
Well,
yeah.
Any input from the, you know,
There,
people? Can we? Or is it
oh,
open?
sure. Okay, the public outreach plan is in the selectmen's packet from November 1st, which is online, and it's all in there.
Because this is big.
This is big. Yeah, it is big. We had an update about the Comcast cable television license renewal. That license expires in 2019, but the renewal process has already started. It takes a while. We reviewed preliminary warrant articles, town-sponsored, for the 2018 annual town meeting. I gave my monthly town management activities report. We talked about a forum that we had last week on October 26th about recreational marijuana, and the idea behind the forum was to get public input on what the community would like to see with regard to town rules and regulations or not about this. The big takeaways I think that we heard were that some people felt the zoning was too restrictive. There were varying opinions about the temporary moratorium, whether we should have it or not. Some people spoke in favor, some people did not speak in favor. And some people thought, so like I said, some people thought the zoning was too restrictive, so perhaps that's something to revisit depending on what happens at the special town meeting at the annual.
So what's strange about this whole moratorium thing is that if the state wasn't ready, why would they allow April to be the day, if you don't have a moratorium by April, if they don't even have the rules out
The
yet?
rules are supposed to be out by March 15th, but that
But
gives
why put a
municipalities no time to put
That's what I
local
mean.
things. I don't know.
It doesn't make sense, and that's why everybody's in a tizzy over this.
And look in the paper, every community's in something of a frenzy about it. We, earlier this week, we had a public informational session about the Six Fairgrounds Housing Project, which is a town-owned piece of property that the town is seeking to develop for community housing. And there were a lot of questions answered about that, I think. We also had some additional discussion, which we had the prior week, about Our Island Home. Long story short, the board is going to be having an open public discussion about options, future, current, anything to do with the island home, I think, on November 15th. So mark your
So-
calendars if you're interested in that.
That's another big one.
That's another big one. Yep.
We got to work on that.
Yeah, and there's sort of some misinformation going around about that.
Okay.
Anyway, I won't get into that
All
right
right.
at the moment. Next week, next selectmen's meeting, we are going to be recapping the special town meeting because it'll be a couple days later. We have our second medical marijuana dispensary applicant in. They're called Green Lady, and they've been in a couple of times. The board had some questions most recently. They're coming back with some answers, and we'll see
Well,
what
that'd be
happens there.
interesting, huh?
Yep. We also are going to be having a discussion about downtown parking. Now, the idea here, I think, is that if the town is seeking, so for example, we're talking about year-round shuttle service. How is that going to be funded? And there's been a bit of discussion about perhaps funding should come from parking revenue. Parking revenue we don't have right now. So is there a way to generate revenue from the value of parking downtown or elsewhere? This probably needs to be something of an incremental introduction sort of a thing to possibly paid parking, or maybe paid parking in the town lots. What are we trying to do with downtown parking? I guess maybe that's the first question. What are we trying to do? Are we trying to manage it? Are we trying to make it turn over more in a managed way? There's a lot of
But if we
issues.
do correct me if I'm wrong, we're looking at the Harbor Place as being some sort of area where people can park, is that correct?
Yes, we are.
Wouldn't that be The place where people would be paying?
Well, that
mostly?
could be, but there are some theories that you need to have a concurrent
Everywhere.
program for the most immediately adjacent areas. I think we now know that with the valet parking that started 4 or even, well, maybe almost 5 years ago now, people are willing to pay in some manner for parking. So,
I don't like that valet parking, Libby.
you don't?
No.
Why not?
It's in your face.
It's in your
It's like, oh, I
face.
have money, so therefore I can park my, it's just more, it's too obvious.
It's too obvious.
To me, it
Interesting.
is. Yeah, I don't
Okay.
like it. I think just make it even for everybody. We gotta figure out a way to make it even for everybody.
Okay, well, that's a discussion. That'll probably be part of the discussion. Anyway, it's kind of a preliminary discussion to sort of bring us back to what are we really doing here?
People are willing to pay for it yeah, of course.
I mean, it is pretty common elsewhere. I personally,
Yeah.
I don't love the idea of paying for parking downtown, but it, there's all kinds of ways to set up a program. The first couple hours are free.
You can do it just for the season.
You can do it just for the season. But there is an issue. If we're going to have year-round shuttle service, then we really need to identify a funding source. And also the lots. Maybe the lots get paid. Maybe
We can have both, can't we?
yeah, we could have both. But it's got to be, people need to understand it and well before it gets to town meeting. So there's a lot of work to be done on this. So that's a discussion that's going to happen next week at the meeting. We then have our meeting on the 15th, which I just talked right now. We know we're having an island home discussion. We are not meeting on the 22nd. That's the day before Thanksgiving. And I think we're having probably a meeting on the 29th since we're not meeting on the 22nd,
Really?
which is a fifth Wednesday, and we normally don't meet that day.
You don't know if that's gonna happen?
Well, I think we've scheduled it